In a remote corner of the world, shrouded by perpetual twilight, stood an old house. Within its decaying walls, a young girl lived alone, haunted by the memory of her father. His death was a mystery, an unsolved puzzle that left an icy void in the air. She never knew how or why he was taken, but the fear it instilled became her constant companion, a shadow that clung to her with every step and every silent moment. Ever since that fateful day, the house had transformed into a prison of terror. Each creak of the floorboards, each gust of wind rattling the windows, felt like a whisper from the abyss. The very shadows seemed to watch her, judging, waiting. One day, a sliver of courage broke through her fear. She decided to leave, to escape the suffocating grip of the haunted halls. But as she reached for the door, a symphony of unsettling sounds erupted from within the walls, driving her back with a wave of sheer panic. Every groan, every scrape, was a chain pulling her deeper into despair. Drawn by an unseen force, she found herself in her father's old art studio. The room was a gallery of his soul, filled with canvases that seemed to hold secrets within their strokes. It felt as if his spirit still lingered here, a restless energy that filled the space with whispers and phantom screams. The ominous sounds intensified, echoing through the house, each one tightening around her heart like a vice, trapping her in a labyrinth of confusion and dread. It felt as if an invisible presence was stalking her, its oppressive weight pushing her down, suffocating her will to escape. She spun around, a desperate flight instinct taking over, but a gaze fell to the floor, and a sight of pure horror paralyzed her. A human skull, wreathed in ethereal, golden-red flames, stared back from the floorboards. Fear seized her, stealing the air from her lungs. The flickering fire danced across the room, casting monstrous, writhing shadows on the walls, turning the familiar space into a living nightmare. Her legs refused to move, her body consumed by a terror so profound it felt like ice in her veins. A scream tore from her throat, raw and primal. It shook the very foundations of the house. A sound so desperate it seemed to awaken the dormant darkness clinging to the ceilings. The scream echoed, amplified by the malevolent silence that followed, as if the house itself was feeding on her fear. Every corner now seemed more menacing, every shadow deeper. Her own heartbeat thundered in her ears, a frantic drumbeat counting down to an unknown doom. Fleeing the house, she burst into the overgrown yard, gasping for breath in the cold night air. And then she saw it. A hand, pale and grim, was clawing its way out of the damp earth. Her eyes widened in disbelief, her heart hammering against her ribs. The terror was absolute, a chilling wave that suspended time and logic. As a figure pulled itself from the makeshift grave, she recognized the tattered clothes, the familiar shape. It was her father. In that horrifying instant, the truth crashed down upon her. The vampire that had murdered him was still out there. It had not only killed him, but it turned him, bringing him back to this very yard as an undead servant. The loss of a father was just the beginning of the nightmare. He was one of them now, and the horror of her past had just become the terror of her future. The cursed being, her own father, was now closing in on her. His steps a dead, shuffling rhythm. Her heart raced, her breath caught. She was cornered, and she knew her final moments had arrived. The creature, devoid of love or memory, lunged. The world dissolved into a crimson haze as the life was brutally torn from her. But her story didn't end there. She, too, became one of them. A new specter to haunt the cursed grounds. The house now stands empty, silent, waiting. It seems the first person to cross its threshold will become the next victim in this bloody, unending nightmare. Every creak of its timbers, every whisper of the wind through its broken panes, is a promise of fear, an invitation to death. The house is waiting for you. Thank you for joining us on this terrifying journey. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next descent into darkness. Stay safe out there.